Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. You may have considered or heard about hypnosis, hypnotherapy, and that's all good, but we're gonna bypass that for a second. This is really what I would consider, from what I understand, hypnosis on steroids in changing your life. And it's called the instant change method. And Michael Danielson is here with us today, and he's one of those people that can change your life literally in an instant. All right, maybe 3 sessions, but we'll get with that. Michael, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing fantastic. And we talked about this last time, how the instant change method really is changing lives. It is a combination of, and work with me on this. Essentially, is it three things? So hypnotherapy and then what?
You have quantum physics, neuroscience, hypnosis, and meditation, which hypnosis is pretty much like a deeper form of meditation, so you can kind of integrate them as well, but it does do all four factors of that.
Wow. And it does it fast. If I'm correct in remembering, we're talking, barely a half hour in three different sessions can change your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's nothing like it on the market. The method. That's what I actually just call it, the method.
This is my first thought. I had hypnosis. I shared with you about 3 weeks ago or so, and powerful, profound. I would call it life changing in many regards. This is almost too good to be true. It's just it really that's my I'm analytical. Sometimes I'm skeptical. Hey, I was going into the hypnotherapy session like, yeah, is this really going to do anything? Whoa, it did, and it took an hour and change, maybe an hour and a half. Why does this work so well? Why does it work so fast?
Sure. Because research has shown that everything is energy and emotion. They really haven't even declared that matter exists. The scientists can't even say that. So when you amplify that energy, especially when you work with the higher self and God, that makes the change so quick because the energy is so powerful. Like to get to the spiritual realm, like a little bit, like I'm sure you may have heard of Shiva and Shakti. Like you have your presence and you have your energy. So you have your presence, which is the spaces which keeping everything together. But then you also have the energy, the Shakti, or some people call it prana. Now, when you can amplify that through the instant change method, that'll work through your entire being. So it's working everywhere, not just in your mind. Because I'm sure, as you know, and your listeners know, the mind can be erratic at times. If you actually sat down and wrote your thoughts down for about 5 minutes and read them an hour later, you're going to be like, what the heck? Because
Yeah.
the mind's bouncing all over the place. So if you're just working in the mind, which hypnosis does work with the subconscious mind, which is much more powerful, you still have that erraticness there. So when you actually focus on your entire being and that energy and information, the exact information, then I can go through your whole system, and the old stuff has to go. So it can't even relodge. So it's kind of like, the best way I can say this is, say you suck something out, but then you fill it, then you can't put anything else in there. The negative energy can't come back because it's blocked by the positive energy.
Interesting. And how do you ensure that once you purge, if you will, the negative energy out, how do you ensure that not more comes in?
Sure. Because that's why it says focused on, like we talked about last week, you really want to have the exact information that you want. And then once you have that need, that drive, that'll amplify the energy, and that'll work through your whole system. And once your energy component goes in there, that vibration, it cannot come back. It's too powerful. When it works through your entire being, because it actually works down through your energy body, your mind, and the individual cells. So it's your whole being. So, and that's actually, we talked about last time about the depletion. Think about if you were walking around your whole life with 1,000-pound backpack on your back. Now, when you take that off, you're going to feel that like that weight's been lifted, which is actually a good thing. But then the new information energy comes in, and it can't come back in there. It can't. So that's what, yeah.
So when we talk about hypnotherapy, if somebody's a hypnotherapist, they didn't invent hypnotherapy. It's been long established. For you, you didn't invent the instant change method. you're somebody who administers it. You've had it before, and that's where you realize how beneficial it is. I want to get personal for a second, Michael. How has
Sure.
it changed? How has it personally changed your life?
Well, the biggest thing, and I harp on this because it's an issue that I've dealt with my whole life, is anxiety. And I'd see that more and more becoming in society with everything going on,
Very
the
much.
economy, COVID, all that good stuff. So that's something I struggled with a lot. And you notice when you work in the therapy world, you will attract the same kind of clients that you had issues with. So I had this. I tried everything with the anxiety. I even tried hypnosis, which did help. It got me to, I want to say, about 90% down to about a 40% level. But I was still working with the mind because my mind's personally very active. It's going a lot, so I couldn't really get that all the way in. So I actually did the instant change method with the inventor of the instant change method, Daniel Weinstock. And I would say my anxiety level, for the most part, is about a 10%. It might fluctuate a little higher, say if there's something really crazy is going on. But most of the time I'm at 10%. Just to me, I'm over the moon from
Wow.
where I used to be. So that's something that I personally worked with it, and that's why I became such an advocate for this. 'Cause I'm saying this can do this for me. What can it do for anything else? And it works for other issues as well, not just anxiety, but stop smoking, weight loss, like we said. So that's my personal that I've dealt with my whole life, and that's what drew me to this.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And thanks for your honesty and transparency on that, because I think it speaks volumes for people. And yeah, 100% anxiety, so prevalent now. And I agree with you, COVID, what's going on, what happens in the news every single day. And then we got to navigate our lives. And by the way, if you want to reach out and you have a question, it's instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. So with the instant change method, what if you're not sure what you need to heal? Can you just go into, let's just say I just don't feel fulfilled. I'm not where I think I should be. So something's not right, but let me give this a try. Would it be beneficial?
I'm going to say no,
Okay.
because you have to be very exact with the information that you want, because how are you going to know if you actually have that change? If
Gotcha.
you don't know what you want, then no, that's what's very specific. That's actually the most important component of that. So we would actually go over that. That's the longest part of the actual session, is drilling that down and clarifying that, because you want to say what you do want, not what you don't want. Like you're saying, you can't be wishy-washy with it. You
Yep.
got to.
To be direct. And it's funny you should say that, because when I was hypnotized and I found it, beneficial, I knew where I wanted to go, and I knew what I wanted to call it heal. I connected the dots in my childhood, and I went back to that. So let's center on that for a second, because the instant change method does encompass hypnotherapy. Are you going back to a time? Are you feeling something when you're, quote unquote, hypnotized? Because a lot of people have that perception that that things are going to take over, and I'm going to be in a different place, and I'm not going to be talk about anxiety. They're not going to be comfortable with it.
Sure. Yes, actually, with the instant change method, you don't actually bring up all that past garbage, because you don't need to, because it's so powerful with the energy and information that it just works through your entire being. Because, as you said, our formative experiences from 0 to 7, so when we form our beliefs, how we view the world, things like that. But you don't actually need to dig that up, because you actually put that information and energy in. It is so powerful that all stuff has to go. So limiting beliefs, then blockages. Your whole body has an energy system that flows through it from the universal energy. And what happens when you have a fixed emotion or a blockage is where you have your issue. And when that energy can flush that blockage out, you don't need to drag up all that past garbage. It's not needed, because it just goes away. That blockage goes, it's done. So no, you don't have to.
Are you aware that it's going? Again, 3 sessions of, I think you said 20 minutes a pop. Are you aware that it's going away?
Sure. Because you actually feel that, like I said, literally, like carrying around a 1,000-pound backpack.
Okay.
And after the session, you'll feel that gone, and you'll feel the new energy and information working through there. So yes, you would definitely feel it.
It's pretty amazing. We have Amber in Fort Myers, Florida, who's checking in again, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. She says, I am not religious. Can this method work for me?
It can, yes, because you can say that I'm part of the universe or source or whatever. That it does work. Belief in the method is not the most important thing. getting the right information in there is. The method will work. You just put the right stuff in there and the method will work. Now, for most people that are into this thing are really like spiritual and things like that, so that adds a component, but it's not necessary. No, it's not.
Interesting. And I'm a big proponent of the word universe. I believe that the universe has this thing that's around us. We're part of a universe. Maybe the plan is already made. Who made the plan? That's for you to decide. And that may be, God, higher being, source, whatever it might be. But I'm good with universe. And yes, I believe in a God, but I don't think, like you just said, as long as you believe that there's something, going on there, is that a main component or an important part of the instant change method?
Yes, for the most part it is. And most people just say I am, the I am presence. We'll just say I am. But that is something that's integrated, energetic help, ascended masters, things like that is a central component of that. It's not the most vital part, but it's definitely a key component of it, yes.
Okay. How about a success story? Anything that stands out for you in helping somebody with the instant change method?
Yes. Actually, I worked with somebody that weight loss is something I worked with.
Hmm.
And we worked with that finished up about 2 weeks ago. And when I worked with a person, and they said since those 2 weeks, they've lost about 10 pounds. So I know that's not like the great, but that's pretty much what their goal was. So they received that. So that's one of the most recent successes I've had.
And okay, so I'm curious now. What changed for them? Did their eating habits change? What did you focus on with the instant change method?
Yes, eating habits and their routines, how they wanted what their focus was. Because where your attention goes, that's where your energy flows. So you have the focus of how you want it, and then you also put in the eating habits. Those are the two major things that we worked on. So yes.
Interesting. Okay, so and everybody has a relationship with food. So I guess you essentially change their relationship with food.
Yes. And the number one thing is really if you cut out this one thing, it pretty much solves the issue for most people, carbs. Like some people have to have carbs because it's part of the diet, but you can cut that out. You're going to lose weight. And if you have that mindset to say that you want to get rid of that and you don't have to fight yourself, because willpower is a limited resource. So when you put that information, say this is how I want it, and you have that energy behind it, you don't have to rely on your willpower. And it just happened, especially, well, for her it did so.
Yeah. Okay. So, and by the way, give everybody your website.
Sure, it's icmrightnow.com. ICMRIGHT now.com.
And if somebody reaches out to you, how does that work? You talk to them for a little bit, kind of get a feel for, they can ask questions.
Sure. And like I said, on my website, I have a thing that says schedule time with me, and they can book a free 30-minute session so we can actually go through this. And if they don't feel comfortable going to the session for the first time, that's fine. But I do actually like to show people that it works, and then they'll know that it works. So actually, I do actually incorporate a session throughout the first free 30-minute session. So
I know we can't do a session here, but can you, and I don't want to put you on the spot because, every situation is different, but what are you doing when you're doing the session? I'm trying to give, everybody a feel for what it is. Now, hypnotherapy, if you've never done it before, it's not, oh, I'm going to get hypnotized or, watch this. And, that's the perception of it. It's just somebody talking to you and then you get into a certain state. Sometimes they play a little bit of music in the background. That's kind of Zen and you get into a zone. How does it work with you? Is there any way that you can kind of just give an example of how you get somebody into, let's say, session number one?
Sure. So the general outline of how I would work with somebody, which is all the same, is that I ask them to provide 3 to 5 sentences of what they want, a general idea, and then we'll actually drill down the language to what their actually subconscious mind will accept. And after we do that, then I would, as I explained last time we talked, they would actually stand up because it's more powerful when they stand up. And then I would actually, if they're spiritual, which most people that I work with are, we would actually ground them to Mother Earth. As I say that you have roots coming out of your feet, shooting down like lasers down into the earth. And then you also have a white light beam above coming out of your head, connecting you to source. or you could say universe, that's fine, but I do go through the same process with everybody, and I don't think Mother Earth or universe would hopefully offend anybody. Then we would actually say, you have a giant ball of light and energy above your head, and they would pick the color of the ball of light and energy, and into that ball of light and energy, I'd put in the information that we discussed, and then we'd actually guide that information energy throughout their body. It would go through their energy body, into their mind, synchronizing the mind, working down the entire body through the individual cells. And while I'm doing this, I'd actually add in programs. When I say programs, it'd be things like, self-love, self-awareness. And these programs actually do have power. People think that, there's just words. No, they're not. Words have power. That's how the universe was created. So they have very much have power. And then we work through the system, then work into then down to your body, into the heart. We open the heart, and I actually call the heart the second brain, because you really want to integrate the mind with the heart and the stomach. All three of those have to be coordinated. Then you work down to the third brain, which is the stomach, and then work throughout your entire being. And you'll feel that actually as it comes through you, 90%. There are 10% that don't, but most people do actually feel that energy going through them. They'll feel like waves of energy, especially I could say like, and it's not scary, but you feel like you're actually connected to all that is. Mm-hmm. And that's how you actually work through there. And then I let the process work through there at the person's own time. They're not rushed. They can let the process keep working. And when they're done, like I actually incorporate some hypnosis things, like certain language patterns, so let the session continue. Because when the process is done, it's not done working. You keep going. That's why people say, how can it be done in 3 sessions? You're only doing 20 minutes. Because the process doesn't end there. It keeps going. But that's a general outline of how every session goes. We tweak a little bit, but that's how it goes.
So I want to say at this point, we're talking about the instant change method. And if you're listening to this and watching it and thinking this guy over here is just crazy, Danielson, I'm sorry. If you think he's just, I might have thought that this is kind of crazy what we're talking about here a year ago, until I recognize energy healing. And a lot of those principles that you're talking about, I've experienced. I just shared with you hypnotherapy, and I think I'm very level-headed. I'm also skeptical. This makes sense. It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. Because you're combining, all different modalities to get something accomplished. Even, we're not talking about Reiki, but that it is a form of energy healing. I've heard that word for years. Like, what is that? Well, then I had it done. And then I realized, whoa, energy is powerful. We're all energy. So that's really what we're talking about right here. Got a question coming in from Jolene in Trumbull, Connecticut. And she says, my parents got divorced when I was very young, and I have what I think is a fear of abandonment. Can this help with that?
Yes, it can, Jolene. Because what you have a fear of abandonment, yes. But one of the things that's bad about humans is that we look for approval outside of ourself. And the instant change method would actually integrate that into yourself, so you feel connected to all that is, and then you'll have that self-love flowing through you. So then you will not need the love of others, approval, thing like that. So it's one of the biggest issues. We have 2 things that we're pretty much afraid of. It's that we're not enough, and that we won't be loved. But when you know that you're part of everything, then that will just disappear. I mean, it will never be an issue, because that blockage will go. There's a blockage in your system. You have to remove that.
It's fascinating. The part that blows my mind is the fact that you can purge the negative thoughts or the negative energy, however you want to describe it, out, and then replace it with the good stuff. And then it just gets locked in, and it's don't want to scare anybody, but you're kind of reprogramming your mind in a lot of ways, but in a very positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So,
yeah. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing the instant change method for a couple months now. Mm-hmm. I've been doing the hypnotherapy for about 1.5 years, and I waited about 1 year to get to training, because the instant change method is actually, they're German, is the Daniel Weinstock that created this. So I had to wait a long time. I was actually part of the first English training that there is.
Wow.
And as far as I know, there might be one more, but I think I'm the only native English speaker that actually does this. So it's something unique. So yeah.
Wow. I had no idea. And I did. Hey, I Googled you, and I
Uh,
Googled the instant change method, and I saw that name, the person that designed it. But really, all they did, and correct me if I'm wrong, was take pieces of different things that work and put them all together. Is that really how it all came about?
that is correct. It took him about 8 years to actually formulate everything and put it together into the system, and actually I had the programs into that. But yeah, he was actually a coach, and he found he always didn't have results. Like he studied hypnotherapy, stuff called wing wang, things like that. But he figured that he didn't always get results. So he says, why not I combine all of these things? And then he did, and then created the instant change method. So
What has it ever come about where after 3 sessions you didn't accomplish your goal?
I have never personally had that issue. And doing all the research I had, it has about a universal 98% success rate. So I have not. I'm sure maybe at some point I will run across that, but I have not.
That is a very high number and very impressive.
Yes, I've never seen anything like this. So I said, I was on hypnotherapy and I saw that. I said, I'm sold. And then I went through it. I'm like, yeah, this is it.
Is that how it happened? You had hypnotherapy and then this was kind of the next step?
Yes. Because I'm always looking for the thing that works the fastest. Because what people want is they don't want to go through, you don't want to say, I have a fear. You know what? I'm going to work on that fear for a couple of months. That's what I'm going to do. Nobody wants to do that. You want your result now. So then I'm always looking for the fastest, most reliable methods. And I was researching different things, and actually I was just Googling. I'm like, what's some other change work? And I saw the instant change method. And I was like, I was skeptical, like you said. I'm like, I don't know about this. But then actually experiencing it, and I was like, yeah, this is where I'm going. After that, I was completely sold. I'm like, this is it.
Interesting in Jolene's question and her situation that I've heard that it can take 2 years to heal from something or heal yourself once you have identified what I see you shaking your head. And I've heard that a couple of times, and I don't know if that's just being somebody throwing that out there that may be some type of coach because they want you to work with them for 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
I always wonder about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, and like any industry, there are people that do take advantage. And yeah, when I hear that, I'm like, there's no, come on. I mean, you're horrible at your job if it takes 2 years. There's no way.
Well, what do we on our side? What do we know? It
Right.
sounds reasonable that to get fully healed. And somebody did tell me earlier today it took them 7 years, but there was a lot of health issues and other things involved in that. So there was a lot of, call it moving parts within themselves that needed to get healed, not one particular thing. For example, I need to stop smoking or I need to get rid of anxiety. But this is powerful and fascinating for think about, like yourself, Michael, dealing with, anxiety and stress and in 3 sessions gone essentially,
Yeah.
down from 90% to the 10% is just powerful, very
Yeah.
powerful.
And like we said, it's anxiety. You don't want to eliminate that altogether because then that's not good. Like you said, like if you're driving and something comes up, you need to have that reaction. So you don't want
Right.
to get rid of 100%. But yeah, this happened. Yeah, 2 years. Sorry, that's just I have to laugh. I have to laugh at that.
That's what I heard. I'm just passing it on.
Yeah.
What are some of the others for the last couple of minutes here? What are some of the other things that it can help? We've identified weight loss, smoking, anxiety. And Jolene's uh, her challenge is fear of abandonment. What else can it help you with?
I would say pretty much everything to an extent. Like, say you have a broken arm, it's not going to fix that. I mean,
Sure.
obviously. But anything else, like say, but the pain from it and the suffering from it, from you ruminating about this, like, oh, why this happened to me, something like that, it will help with that. So pretty much, and also say if you're running a business and you have a limiting belief, you don't want to put yourself out there.
Hmm.
This can give you the confidence to actually go forward with that, so it doesn't become an issue. So it actually helps with charisma as well. That's one of the programs you would integrate, so you can actually have that charismatic, have that powerful voice. Things, emotional issues, stop smoking, anxiety, weight loss.
Oh,
I would say I haven't really seen anything other than an actual physical problem like a broken limb or something like that it doesn't help with. I mean, it's pretty much anything.
What about, final question here? What about if somebody's going through a challenging time in their life, whatever it might be, a change in relationship, change in job, whatever it is that, would they be a candidate for it?
They would, and then we would actually go through what they do want. Because say they're actually dealing with this challenge, and they're talking about this, and they're thinking about this, and 95% of your thoughts are being recycled every day. So actually, when you actually want to change that paradigm, see, with the instant change, your energy meets your paradigm. When I say paradigm, that's pretty much the program that you run on. So when your energy meets that paradigm and you shift that completely, then you can actually have a new focus, a new outlook, and you can get rid of that past garbage. Because it's really, like I said, most everything is energy. So once you get that energy, paradigm, boom, there you go.
Wow. Amazing. We're talking about the instant change method. And what would you call yourself? Would you be a therapist in this? What would it be?
Yes, I do call myself a therapist. That is correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Michael Danielson, great talking with you once again. And thanks for even sharing some more information about this. And, I gotta try it
soon.
It's definitely. And why wouldn't you? 20 minutes times 3, and in 3 consecutive days. Am I right about that?
Well, you actually it's 4 days. You do on day 1, then day 2, then you skip, and then you go to day 4.
Why do you skip a day?
Because you actually let that integrate. Because like I said last time, 60% integration, then 80, then you let that actually work. And then on the 4th day, 100%. But to actually have full actualization, it's 7 to 10 days from the beginning of the process.
When you say integrate, that's fancy speak for let it set in?
Yes. Marinate, yes.
Okay. We go. Actually, I'm having steak for dinner. So
there you go.
But, Michael, great talking with you. And definitely go to the website, learn more. I know you have videos up there, and book a session, book a consult, just learn more about it. And look forward to catching up again next time with you.
Absolutely. And hit me up and we'll talk.
Excellent. All right. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.